Hello everyone, my name is Kenji Kimura, and today we'll be talking about cybersecurity in healthcare, part 2 of the law. So in the previous video, we talked a little bit about laws surrounding cybersecurity. Today we'll be touching on 5 more laws, and laws is not the most exciting topic, but I tried my best to make it very concise as possible. So if you could stick around, I'd greatly appreciate it. And the law is important to know for us as a physician and any kind of healthcare provider, because law protects our privacy and our patients' privacy. And also, by knowing the law, we could conduct research and development safely under the law. So let's get started. All right, so the first law is the HITECH Act from 2009. It incentivized adoption of EHR with meaningful use. Meaningful is pointing to the fact that you can't just adopt a EHR and get the funding from the government. You have to make sure that the EHR makes the workflow efficient or brings the quality of the patient better. And then the hospital has to be able to execute that. And specifically regarding cybersecurity, the HITECH Act strengthened the HIPAA rule, and entities must report PHI breaches. PHI stands for Protected Health Information. It also expanded on civil and criminal penalties in HIPAA. For example, business associates are now liable for compliance to HIPAA. Business associates are appointing to entities that are working with the hospital, such as pharmaceutical companies or vendors who might be handling patient information as well. Those entities must also be compliant with HIPAA. And limitation of PHI for marketing, fundraising, and prohibit the selling of PHI without individual authorizations. These are some regulation that was set by the HITECH Act. And the HITECH Act also put 4 different tiers of culpability and penalties. Hopefully we don't have to deal with it, but basically that if, for example, patients' information, 250 patients' information was leaked, then it's a certain level of penalty. If it's more than 250 to 500, that's another level of penalties. So these levels of penalties were set in place. The next is General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR from 2018. This is set in EU, but GDPR applies to all entities that process PHI of individuals residing in EU. So as a physician working in the United States, if I am still caring for a patient in Europe remotely, GDPR still applies to me. And data collector and controllers must be transparent with the purpose of the data and how it will be used. And data must be kept securely, and it must also specify how long the data will be stored to the patients. Is it 1 week? Is it 1 year? Is it 10 years? And a patient have the right to erasure, as in if the patient wants their data to be deleted from the database, they have the right to do that. The regulation, the GDPR, does not describe technical standards, but it mandates to design a robust cybersecurity and manage risks. Next law is Anti-Kickback Statute and the Stark Law. The Anti-Kickback Law was enacted in 1972, and it prohibits soliciting or receiving values that would attract referrals from medical providers. And the Stark Law prevents physicians from referring Medicare or Medicaid beneficiaries to another medical system for monetization. Basically, no bribing. So let's say the pharmaceutical company wants me to use their drug, and in return, I get money and cars or something like that. Then that's breaking the anti-kickback law. And for example, if I have a working partner and that hospital is going to give me money when I refer my patient to them, so then I am not prioritizing my patient's care, and I'm prioritizing getting money. So that is against the Stark law. However, it's interesting because when the law gets too stringent, it could actually cause negative effect. This law impacted cybersecurity because health systems became reserved to accept cybersecurity assistance from fear of violating these laws. For example, let's say, well, larger hospital systems in general have much more resources to conduct cybersecurity versus maybe a smaller clinic may not. So they would rather work with the larger hospital system so that they are also covered. Their security is also covered by this larger entity. So when these two clinics or two hospitals are working together, obviously the smaller clinic would prefer to send their patients to this larger hospital because they would also get cybersecurity service in return as well. Um, but by doing so, there's a chance that you might be going against these two laws. So in 2017, the law was actually modified so that large healthcare systems can share cybersecurity resources and information with their partners. The next law is around drugs. The Medicare Modernization Act of 2003 supported e-prescribing medications to reduce medical errors. E-prescribing of controlled substances, however, had not been allowed by DEA. Until 2010, the prescribers of these controlled substances had to go through a lot of paperwork or phone calls, and it was very inefficient. But in 2010, the law was amended to allow privileged providers to perform their own identity verification with multifactorial authentication. And this helped streamline the EPCS while protecting user identities and prevent illegal prescriptions. Finally, California SB 327. This law is around the Internet of Things, IoT. Now everything is connected to the internet. For example, the garage, when it feels or when it detects that your car is approaching, it might be able to open the garage automatically. Or maybe your refrigerator is connected to the internet and it sends you a text message when the milk is low. So now a lot of things around us is connected to the internet. And that means that the attacker has many entrances to obtain our personal information. So in 2018, California passed a bill to require manufacturers of connected devices sold in California to comply with new security rules. And manufacturers must prevent unauthorized use and not allow weak default login credentials. All right, so that's the end of the law component of cybersecurity in healthcare. Thank you for sticking to the end. In the next video, I'll talk more about how attacks happen, how attackers attack, such as viruses or Trojans or worms. So I'll see you in the next video.